behind you, Poe.
Welcome back to another Battlefront update. Before we really jump into the news in this video, I just really want to quickly address the updated roadmap situation. As most of you know, we were promised to get a new updated roadmap this month, and the expectation was that DICE would drop it last week either on Thursday or Friday. But internal company delays meant that we still haven't received it yet, and as of right now, it's looking more likely that we'll be getting it sometime next week in October, rather than September as originally planned. I know there was some confusion about this in the last few days, so I just wanted to address this and clear this all up. Alright, with that said, just because we didn't get the updated roadmap doesn't mean we still don't have any news to talk about. Rather, actually, we have a lot of news to talk about, and it's actually pretty official. Most of it isn't incredibly groundbreaking stuff or anything major, but it nonetheless is still interesting and enough to keep our hype levels intact for the following months. And before I continue, I just want to remind everyone that all this information is straight from Ben Walk, the community manager for Battlefront 2. He was most recently pretty active on Discord and dropped a lot of small info bits regarding the content we'll be getting both this and next year. First up, let's get the Grievous news out of the way, as I know most people care about that the most right now. Ben revealed that October will officially be called the General Grievous Update, while November will be called the Battle of Geonosis. Yeah, I know, not very creative, but I figured I'd mention that just in case anyone is curious what DICE will be branding these next 2 months. So there you have it, General Grievous Update and the Battle of Geonosis. Now for something a little bit more broad. Ben has stated that Grievous has some nice voice lines where quite a few actually came from the community itself. And no, I'm not sure what kind of voice lines he's talking about here exactly, but it might just be some of his more notable quotes from the Clone Wars series that people had suggested they added in. As for whether Grievous is playable now or not, the answer to that is yes. Grievous is fully playable, and that shouldn't beckon to anyone as a surprise considering he is set to release at the end of October. But get this, something that actually is surprising is that Obi-Wan Kenobi is also fully playable now too. This is because that Ben said that both heroes were available to play during the Geonosis playtest that he attended, and Kenobi, like Grievous, was fully playable there. And this now only begs the question then, of why not just release both heroes together in October, then separate them like they're doing now? Grievous in October and Kenobi in November. Either Kenobi is still missing some minor details left to be added to him later on, or they're just needlessly holding him back in order to make players not moan that they have to wait until the winter to get new heroes. But he did tell us whether or not we'll get to see anything of Grievous before release. And the answer to that is a resounding yes. Right now, Ben said he isn't sure whether they'll go through the trouble of creating a trailer for Grievous or not. But there will definitely be screenshots and potentially audio files that they will share before he's released, as they might just rather want to make a trailer for the Battle of Geonosis update instead. Speaking about Geonosis, Ben mentioned that the new vehicles coming to the game will first be featured on Geonosis, and afterwards DICE will see how they go about from there about enabling them on other maps, as they first have to check if the vehicles will properly fit the maps, and consider if the map itself can or cannot handle extra vehicles and so on. And going back to Ben being broad, he mentioned that there's a part somewhere on Geonosis that when you see it for the first time, you just think, and by the way, this is his words, you just think, holy shit. A rather broad statement here by Ben, but I'd wager a guess he might be referencing the large arena or coliseum here, which is a pretty notable set piece from Geonosis in episode 2. Or it could be a moment where a separatist ship is crashing down and kicking up a massive sandstorm. It could be anything, who knows. Or maybe, and this would be pretty dark, but imagine you're in the Coliseum of Geonosis, you're just walking by, and you look down and you see the head of Jango Fett. I mean, I don't know about you, but that's a pretty holy shit kind of moment right there. I mean, yeah, dark, but holy shit nonetheless. You know what? This one sentence by Ben will probably have us all speculating now on what he was talking about all through October until the Battle of Geonosis is finally released. And then we build up this moment to being something really big, and then it's maybe going to be a little short of our really high expectations. Unless, of course, it's going to be the Jango Fett head. That's really dark. Okay, let's change the topic. So something really different from that, but also still in the topic of Geonosis. Ben did say that DICE are thinking about introducing era playlists once Geonosis is released, which itself isn't a novel idea as it was thrown around way back before. However, it's unknown whether this would be a temporary or permanent addition. Other fun details that were mentioned was that Ahsoka Tano is still on DICE's list of potential new heroes to come to the game, acknowledging that DICE know very well of how much the community would like to see her to be in the game. In regards to other future additions to the game, Ben also stated that DICE have talked a lot about potential various hunt modes that they could still add, as Ewok Hunt proved to be very popular, almost to the point where it actually exceeded more players than Galactic Assault when it was first released. And yeah, I'm definitely all for this. Having more hunt maps thrown into a single playlist of hunt mode would be a pretty cool addition. As, let's be real, playing the same Ewok Hunt on Endor time after time does get stale. And I'd say that would be a major reason for why popularity in hunt mode has decreased since its initial release. As for bug fixes and general improvements, Ben stated that the ATRT will be having its battle points reduced soon, all based off the community feedback he's received on that. How soon, we don't know, maybe the upcoming hotfix, but he did say soon, so. But what we do know that is coming in the upcoming hotfix for sure is health stacking fixes, which are definitely coming in that hotfix, there's no question about that. Oh, and if you may recall, we were also due for a double XP event at the end of September that we never got, as that was delayed and will now be happening towards the end of October instead. But to make up for that delay, DICE will introduce not one, but more than several new events in October, such as one with lowered battle points, removing the hero limit, and much more. The reported feedback on the last reduced battle point event was really good to say the least, so it makes perfect sense why DICE would bring it back. Lastly, Ben made it clear that DICE are focusing on creating new heroes at the moment rather than porting over any older heroes. But, and this is a big but, if DICE were ever to revisit Battlefront 2015, it would be Dengar that would be the first one they would choose to port over to Battlefront 2. And I think that's a pretty reasonable choice. As compared to Greedo or Nien Nunb, he was the most visually unique hero. And yeah, I know, Krennic and Jyn were also visually unique too. But the thing is, with them, you need to port over both heroes at the same time, or else it would just be, well, weird. And besides, I'd rather just see them come together in 1 month based off of Rogue One content. That plus the Shore Trooper skins, Scarif, Jakku, and wait, not Jakku, that's not a port, that's just wishful thinking. But yeah, that'll do it for this pretty smallish Battlefront update. Since we didn't get anything new on Thursday or Friday, I figured I might as well give you guys something nice and fresh. But before we end off, tell me what you guys think Ben meant by that something that you see on Geonosis that makes you go, holy shit. That holy shit kind of moment. What do you think that moment could be about? And what kind of other hunt modes would you like to see in the game? Me? Well, I'm still hoping for that Geonosian Undead survival mode. Ever since I saw that in the Clone Wars, I thought, we definitely need this in a game, like a Star Wars game. And since we're getting the Geonosis map now, it would make sense for them to add it in, but then again, it might be a little bit too dark, or that they have to create a whole new map for it because it takes place in the tunnels of Geonosis, and well, there's always going to be reasons and excuses for why they won't add that into the game. But I could always hope that maybe one day, just one day, they'll add that in. If not to Battlefront 2, then maybe to Battlefront 3. But let me know your ideas in the comments down below. But that'll do it for this Battlefront update. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars related content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.